Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying the top of your week. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my video. I want to thank all new subscribers to my channel. I want to thank those of you that has been here for some time. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Just thank you for choosing my channel today and choosing to listen to my content. As usual, I want to invite you all to check out my playlist. There are a variety of topics there that I do have categorized. I've managed to be able to put some of the videos that I've done in the past and put them in an area that you're able to see and check out by topics. Not all of them are there, but I'm still working on that. I'll continue to create new playlists and I will update you as I do that. And of course, you're always free to listen to my channel, listen to the videos as they are uploaded. So I want to get right into this topic, and we're talking about men who there are men who continue to find themselves over and over again in situations with women who are flirting with them, having inappropriate conversations, and their argument is, well, I don't know that she's flirting. How should I know that that's what her intents? I don't see anything wrong with it. And I want you to know, in each and every man, it is deeply ingrained in every human being. We have intuition, we have instincts, okay? And men, there may be a few that don't know, but for the most part, they are aware and they do know when the situation is becoming flirty, when the dynamics of that relationship is changing. But oftentimes they enjoy it, they think they're in control, and they just want to see what happens. And some of them, they want something to happen. In the meantime, when you're in a relationship with this man, and especially when you're his wife, you may be met with resistance. He's telling you it's all in your mind, you're paranoid, you're jealous, and sometimes they just don't care what you feel. And the same thing goes, guys, even if you are in a relationship with someone. If you're in a serious relationship with a man, you should never discount the situation and say, well, he's just my boyfriend. Or if he sees you as, well, I'm just her boyfriend, it doesn't matter. No, it's not about being a boyfriend or a husband. Whether a husband or a boyfriend, it has to do with that person's character. It shows you the position of their mind, whether they're double-minded, unstable. If that man is like a city without walls where anything can come in and out, he has no boundaries, he has no discretion, he has no loyalty, and he's not faithful. Loyalty and faithfulness is very, very important. And so whether you're married or dating him or not, if he has issues in this area, then it's not for you to be trying to fix him, but trying to figure out what you're going to do. The ball is now in your court as far as how you're going to deal with this matter, because you can't make him do anything. But you have to figure out what you're going to do for your peace of mind, or if you're going to continue to be there having futile arguments. Now, I've experienced this to some degree, and I had to make a decision ultimately that I had to make the changes for myself. And men can see clearly what is before them. And so when they play that and tell you, oh, well, I don't know what's going on. Well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't know. The minute you bring that to their attention and they continue to do it, then you know pretty much it's not a matter of whether they know or not. It's whether they want to know and whether they want to correct the situation. Understand, as a woman, it is not your job to be going up to any woman and telling her, you need to leave my husband alone. You need to leave my boyfriend alone. Because I just want to be very clear here. There may be times when you as a woman end up having to have a discussion and a talk with another woman. You may have to correct her on certain things. Sometimes you have to do that. However, when you're with a man let's put it like this, if he's perpetuating that situation and he's encouraging it, you're only going to be setting yourself up for failure and a cat fight, and you have got to get yourself above that. It is not that serious that you want to fight another woman and get into an argument with a man who is enabling her. So there's a difference between addressing someone regarding your husband and then another thing with getting into a cat fight. Let's continue. Because that is something that you should never do. You want to have a man who is has enough discernment and enough awareness and enough respect and loyalty to you that he's not putting you into the crosshairs to get into a cat fight with a woman or an argument, because at some point when you're done doing all of that, he's going to call her later or she's going to call him later, and he is either going to negate what you have said or act as if, oh, you're just crazy and you're over the top, and he's going to tell her that he's fine with the relationship and he doesn't have any problems. So you end up becoming the person that is the odd man out. Now, especially when someone say that they are a follower of Jesus Christ, okay, and not the on again, off again Christian. This man who is truly following the Lord and wanting to do his perfect will, and this man, even if he doesn't know, through the Spirit of God, he is going to have the ability to discern and pick up on something that is not right, or a relationship that's going in a direction that it should not be going in. Not only that, he will, once you tell him something that bothers you, he is going to have it within himself to treat you the way that he would want to be treated and consider your position and make the right decisions. Now, granted, you have to be honest with yourself, because if you are the type of person that you are an overly jealous woman, if you have been hurt in the past and you have not dealt with those things, and so you be jealous of him and his family, you be jealous of him talking to his mother, talking to his father, talking to his brother, talking to his sister, talking to his friends, his co-workers. If you see him talking to anyone, you are easily jealous. That's something you have to work on, because that man should not have to pay for the mistakes of someone that hurt you in the past, or put up with that type of behavior where he can't have any friends. He can't have anybody because you're jealous. When that man has not given you any reason, then you should not be that way, and it's not right, and it can be very stifling. The other thing is, now you have to, men, be fair, because if you have done something to breach the trust, then you're going to have to understand that for a while, she may not trust you. She may double check, triple check, and suspect. And this is a part of why it's so important not to break the trust, because it only takes a moment to break it, and it takes a while to build it back up. So with that said, you have to have understanding as well, because there are men that will be out there messing up, and then they are expecting the woman to just trust him, and it's not fair. Now, another aspect of it is, ladies, if you're with a man and he did something wrong and he messed up, he broke the trust, and you choose to be with him, and since that time he's been doing everything in his power to show you, I am sorry, and have not given you a reason to doubt him, then you have to make that decision on whether you're going to forgive him. You should never stay in a relationship with a man so now you could become his personal warden, his jailer, and all of that, and you're constantly reminding him of when he cheated on you when MC Hammer came out. You're reminding him of when he cheated on you when we were wearing penny loafers. You're reminding him when he cheated on you when you first got your very first pair of authentic leg warmers. I mean, this is just like, no, you have to make up your mind if you're going to forgive him or not. Okay? But in cases, men, where you've broken the trust, and you have got to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm sorry, give her that time to trust you again. That's just a given. All right? But sometimes, this woman, she's not a jealous woman. There's been no issue, and she shows you, she sits with you, and she talks with you, and she tells you what she observes as your wife or as your partner, someone that you're looking to spend the rest of your life with. You have to consider that and act accordingly. It should never be her job, the woman's job, to be going like, oh, well, you need to stay away from him, you need to do this. You can't tell a grown person what to do, and you can't tell a grown person how to behave. So you can state your case and state what your concerns are, but ultimately that man has to make that decision. Now, if he's still having these conversations and he's still allowing, whether it's someone at the church, because believe me, there are women in the church who are wayward. and they will disrespect that woman. They will make their way across the church to a woman's husband, another woman's significant other, and they will be flirting. And you have to really look at the situation. If that man continues to put himself in that situation where he's flirting, he is inciting the situation, he is not doing anything to give you peace of mind and comfort, he is not engaging in any of the things that you guys have discussed that would build a trust and ward off this behavior and stop the way that he's engaging, then you're going to have to make another choice here. This is not another round of arguments with him, but rather, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're responsible for yourself. You can manipulate, you can threaten, you can yell, and you can scream, and you may have already done that. But if he's continuing to behave this way and say, well, I don't know what's going on. Yes, he does. At the very least, he knows that this is an area of contention. This is an area this is something that's upsetting my wife. This is something that my wife has pointed out. This is something that we have discussed. And if he continues to do that, now you have to look at yourself and say, what are you going to do to safeguard yourself? Now, I would tell you, if you're a single woman, you should not even be, this is like a no-brainer. You're a single person and you're in a relationship with a man who is scattered, and he has this person and that person, and they have these connections that's inappropriate. Then you have to choose what you want to do. To me, this is not worth it. It's not worth the time and the effort, because who God brings into your life adds no sorrow. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't disagree. It doesn't mean that you won't at times have times when you're not happy with one another. But it's a difference between disagreements that you can work out and a person that is bringing you sorrow, a person that is constantly in a place where there's always something going on, a person that is like a spiritual and social miscreant. They can't stop what they're doing. They say yes, and then their yes is no, and their no is yes. They are double-minded. They're unstable. They have no rule over their spirit. They will tell you one thing and they do something else. You know, I remember the late Dr. Miles Monroe said, a person of poor character would tell you something today, tell you something today, do something opposite tomorrow, and promise you something else. So you may be in that cycle with that individual, and you have to make up your mind at that point. Is this what I want to do? Because nothing's going to happen, but the more you stay, the more they realize they can push the envelope. And eventually that man will lose respect for you and go on about his business, leave you eventually. Sometimes they stay with you because they're waiting on a vacancy. They're waiting on the lease agreement, quote unquote, meaning to expire so they can take on that new relationship. Meaning that woman may be working her way out of a relationship and he's just waiting. Or he's just waiting to establish something stable with another person before they leave. Because believe me, they lose respect for you. Or they will stay with you simply because of the conveniences of it, but will continue to disrespect you because you allow it. So the ball is really in your court. Never believe that man does not know. If he doesn't know when you told him, at that point he's aware. And a lot of times, as I said, they're grown enough to understand and to know. And they're men who they are so familiar with women. They know the deal. They know the drill. They know what's going on. But they want it. They enjoy that. They enjoy the flirtation. They think that they're in control. Sometimes they want to go as far as they can go. And they don't care what you think. And sometimes you have to take that reality, not convince yourself that he does not know. But he does not care. And sometimes women are afraid to be alone. They're afraid to face that. They're afraid to face life on their own. But you have to know, before you met him, you were doing fine. And maybe you say, well, he helped me in this way. But you have to learn to trust in God and let God lead you. If you're crying when you're with him, why not cry as you heal and move away from him? I can't tell any woman what to do with your life and your relationship. I can only speak to you and let you know that the Word of God says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. In the area that you're weak and you may be codependent emotionally, you ask God to help you and to help you to overcome that so you can be whole, you can understand who you are, so you're able to stand strong and not feel like you have to put up with these behaviors and convincing yourself that he does not know better, because he does know better. Every human being, there is a sense of knowing in all of us of what is right and what is wrong. You know he knows it's wrong because a lot of the things that he will do it behind your back. Most of the times you're going to discover that he's been seeing someone, talking to them, having certain conversations, because he's not doing it freely in front of you, because he knows his conscience at the very core of him, he knows that this is not appropriate. So it's done when you're not around, before he comes into the house, as soon as he leaves the house, at another part of the house, in a way that's very sneaky, because he knows it's not right. Now you can be with a brazen man who has degraded you so much that he begins to take phone calls and talk to other women in your presence. When you're there, ridicule you, discuss you, laugh at you in front of another woman. And you have to ask yourself how you got there. Because 9 times out of 10, he did not do that in the beginning. But the more you allow that man to grate against your self-worth and to push the envelope against it, it's going to break it down. Even the most solid rock, if it's exposed to water and water continues to flow, it begins to break it down. Okay? Men know when a woman is flirting. He knows when the dynamics of a relationship has changed. At the very least, he knows when he's attracted to that woman and want it to happen. And don't trust when God shows you things. And don't be afraid to take the necessary steps that you need to take to give yourself peace. And those steps are not cursing her out, fighting her, going to her job, going to her husband. Because yes, there are women who are married. There are people who are married on paper. But that's it. They're still flirting. They still will go after your boyfriend. They'll still go after your husband. They don't care. Okay? There are men eaters. So whose job is it? Is it you to go up to her and say, you know, what you're doing with my husband is this and that? How awesome would it be to have a man who can stop that situation right in his tracks? There's something really that's very cutting edge and very sobering when if a woman is flirting with a man and he corrects her on the spot. This is a rare type of man, but they do exist. Men who are strong, men who is single in mind and heart, a man who can discern things, a man who is aware of perhaps his weaknesses and he does not allow himself to go down that road. A man who perhaps can look and see that he still has areas in which he is lacking, and he's seeking God and asking God to help him and to change him, to get out of those habits and to let go of those impulses. There are men who are accountable and responsible, and they're strong-willed, and they're not going to fall into the hand of every woman, and they will defend their wives and they will defend their partner. They will protect her. He's loyal. He's faithful. You know, there's men who can be married, but they don't have any loyalty and they don't have any faithfulness. They're just married, but they belong to everybody else. They are in relationships with several people, emotionally, physically, sleeping around. And they just feel like, well, as long as I come home, I'm fine. Emotionally, they are tapped out. But this kind of man is a man who perhaps through the way he was brought up, the things that he saw, his upbringing, his social norms, he feels like this is okay. The things that areas may he'd been rejected, neglected. He does not know what loyalty and faithfulness is because maybe his family did not treat him right. So he's out there and he's scattered. He could be a person that needs affirmation, needs reassurance. He has several different women in his life that he needs different things from, including you. You may be the one that he lives with, but he is not yours. He's everybody else's guy. And that's something they have to work out. You are not going to be able to do it. Don't think you're in his life now, you're going to change him. A lot of times when you're with a man, and depending on his age, he's been doing this for some time. You're not his first rodeo. You're not the first woman he's had that discussion with. You're not the first woman he would have had that argument with. He's been doing it for a while, and he's set in his ways. He's going to do what he wants to do. And sometimes you just have to allow him to do that. But not on your watch, not on your time. But there are men of God who are out there, who are rooted and grounded in Christ, who are being led by the Spirit of God, even if they don't know, through discernment and the Holy Spirit who will guide and lead us into all truth and into all things. A man who's trusting the Lord with all his heart. He's acknowledging the Lord in all his ways, allowing the Lord to direct his path. He will be able to handle the situation. Women will know that they can't just approach him or you any old kind of way. Men will know that they can't approach him or you any old kind of way, because he is going to protect you. And he will be doing that whether he is your husband or if he is someone that you are dating. Because you have to pay attention to what a man is doing while he's dating you. It's not going to get better when he becomes your husband. He's not going to transition and change. If he's a liar while you're dating him, he's going to be a bigger liar when you're married, because he's going to see that you tolerated all this stuff while you were single when you could have left. Now that you're married, it's game on. If he was physically abusive to you while you're single and you stayed, he's going to get worse when you're married. Because when you're single and you had the opportunity to walk away from him, he was willing to take those chances with you when he did not even have a ring on your finger, when you are not even his wife. So he's going to take greater risk with you if you continue to allow him to do certain things, and now you get married to him. They will get worse. Sometimes women are putting up with things because they want to be married, and you're looking at the wedding. You may see people walking down the aisle in that beautiful wedding, but you're not aware of the hell that they are living in at home. Some of them are so ashamed they stay in there and they tolerate things. That man is abusing them, mistreating them, cheating on them. They're just like roommates. I'm never impressed by a wedding. Show me where you're at 5 years, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, and there are people that's together that hate each other. They stay together for their children. They stay together for their assets. They stay together for their business. But they live completely separate lives. Women, the windows are just fogged up at home, just stress, howling at the moon at night, miserable. And then they have children and they begin to use the children against them. Not everybody is happy in their marriages. So don't be so quick to, just tolerate anything because you want him to be with you, and please choose me, please be with me. A man knows when he's doing something wrong. He knows when a woman is flirting with him. He knows when a situation is changing. He knows when the conversation has changed. He knows when that friendship is no longer a friendship. But they'll willingly be talking about sex. They'll willingly be sharing, discussing and having conversations that are inappropriate. Racy conversations, sexting, texting, showing each other's pictures, saying what they would do if they were not married or if they were not in a relationship. If I was not married and if you were not married. This is a common behavior. And so we're having a lot of individuals that are behaving a certain way where there's no boundary. And there is this filth and this 2-for-1 special, and everybody can, and a group rate and the buffet. No boundaries, no respect, no self-respect, no respect for other people. And it's just these behaviors are allowed to perpetuate this is okay. It's not okay. And it's okay not to be okay with it. People say, you'll always be by yourself. If that's how you're going to think, then I'll just be by myself. But believe me, ladies, men who are respectful exist. They are rare, but they exist. Who are kind, who will protect you. who will not allow anyone to take them off the course from their Father's business. Why? Because when this man is rooted and grounded in Christ, when he's seeking first the kingdom of God, he will be guided in how to behave. He will have discernment to what is going on. He will, even if he doesn't know, the Lord will reveal it to him. The Lord reveals things that people don't know. You know, Joseph for a while wasn't sure if he should marry Mary. He was not sure because she was pregnant. But the Lord revealed to him through an angel of God that the child within her has come from God. And so he was led by God. Not only was it revealed, he followed the direction of God. When Jesus was a baby and Herod wanted to find Jesus to kill him, he was not aware of it, but in a dream, he was warned and directed where to take Mary and baby Jesus. And so it was revealed, he was warned, and he obeyed. God will speak to you in dreams and visions. I can't think of the name of Jehu, I believe it was. If I have the name right, I hope I have it correctly. I believe it was Jehu. He was given a directive to destroy Jezebel. And I can't think of the name of the king at the time. Destroy him as well. And you know what? He was not dissuaded or persuaded or distracted by her beauty. He was about his Father's business. They even said they knew Jehu. There's a way that Jehu would charge, the way he would do his chariot, the way he drove his chariot. They knew. He was fierce. He was distinct. They can see him from a distance. Knew it was him before they could see who it was by the way he conducted himself. And so there are men out there, before a woman knows who he is, they can tell by his demeanor and how he conducts himself who he is. And he will not be distracted by beauty in a face. He's a man that does not feel it's just a given that I have to flirt. It's just a given that I have to sext and text. It's just a given that I'm supposed to just talk to different women. There are men who are different, who are led by God, who will guide them and lead them. Show them the errors of their ways. Show them in dreams and visions and direct them. Such a man exists, who is led by the Spirit of God. So not all men have to fall in and sleep with this person. The person that is easily moved by his impulses are no different than an animal, because animals just react. And they're even below animals, because there are animals who they choose one mate and stay with them. They're not all over the place. So someone who said that they're Christian, that has all types of issues and flirting and carrying on, and you're having these conversations with them, that is a person who's carnal. They're Christian on paper, or they say that, but in spirit they're unchanged. And so that's why people could come and go, and there's always something going on, and you can't be safe there. Yes, there may be nice things about him, but those things are not worth anything when everyone has full-on access. Or he'll willingly go on the clearance rack at the highest bidder, or take whoever. Something is going on within him that he needs to work out, and it's been something that was there before you. And so it's something he has to recognize, fast and pray and change and work out through Christ, but it should not be done on your watch. Move ahead with your life. Do the things you need to do. If you break up with him, don't sit there waiting for him to change. Find out who you are in the Lord. Find out what your purpose is. Don't let your whole life be about trying to get married and having children and, oh my gosh, if I don't have someone, I'll just die. Well, a lot of times people have someone and they're dying inside. Spiritually, emotionally, they've lost who they are. So allow God to cleanse you, show you why you feel like you need this person, show you where your codependency comes from, your insecurity. Let him cleanse you and get yourself occupied doing different things. A lot of times the reason why this happens to women is that they're not realizing who they are in the Lord. They're not allowing the Lord to deal with their hurt and the pains from the past. And they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not walking in their calling. They're not expanding their horizon and just enjoying themselves. And so they put up with this behavior. And men who behave this way, they know better. They just don't want to change. They've been used to being with a chain of women who have put up with their behaviors. And so they find, well, they may have someone that they really like, but they could afford to lose her because there will always be a chain and a line and a slew of women that's willing to put up with their foolishness. And because they're not whole, they're okay with little pieces and plugs of relationship. You don't want to be with this kind of man. There is no excuse. Certain conversations, ladies, you should never have. You should never have with a man. You will never have it with a man if he is rooted in the Lord. And I want you to know that there are men out there, they're not even Christians, but there are just certain things that they just will not do. They're loyal, they're faithful. Because it's not always a matter of being a Christian. It's just something about character. There are people who are not Christians who have better character than people who say that they are Christians. Okay? Because they're people who are Christian in word only. They're Christians when it's convenient. It's like a sweater. It's seasonal. Oh, let me take this off right here. Put it back on when I need it. So, ladies, let me stop here. He knows. He's not blind. He's not stupid. He knows what he knows, what he knows, what he knows. Whatever he doesn't know and you told him he continued, now he knows, but he does not care. And you need to decide what you're going to do in this situation, what your role is, and behave accordingly. So guys, I hope this makes sense. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys soon.